back. This is Chicken Philosophy. The Nag Hammadi Scriptures, part 24, in which I'll pick up right where Gwydion left off. Remember the one where he was sitting in the chair with the orange and the Portuguese house? We're picking up from that one. If you'd like to catch up, or if you'd like to start at the beginning of the Nag Hammadi series, you can click right there. There's the playlist. Bye-bye. All right. Hey, Edward. Oh, hey, Pymander. I'm going to cut you off right there, though. I am, of course, psychic, and I have memory, and I was you yesterday. So I know that you have come to get some things off your chest in order to, record Zen Part 10 without any of those things on your chest. The problem is you went on for about 18 minutes. So we all, Gwydion and I, conspired to redirect your thing to a thing called Pymander's Rant, episode 150 of Gwydion's Astral Podcast. So that's not going to be, taking over the show today, but thank you for thinking of us when you needed a place to dump your stuff. And check out Pymander's Rant if you want to. It's not very good. You remember how Gwydion and I have been going back and forth about, well, is it Gnostic? Is esoteric Gnostic or is it not Gnostic? I mean, I don't know. So let's get upset about it. Well, Pymander, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree, and he's like, Theravada? Hinayana? Someone says Theravada's not Hinayana, but what's Hinayana if not Theravada? But Gwydion set him straight, not to worry. So if that sounds interesting to you, then what kind of animal are you? Then, check that out. But then he did manage to get it off his chest and did a perfectly wonderful, lovely reading of Senjo from Shobogenzo, Dogen's instructions on how to poop when you're a monk. It's better than it sounds. I'm going to put it on the end screen. You're going to like it. All right. Well, here we are today. It's a brand new day. It's gray, not raining right now, but it could rain any minute. And the temperature's nice. And I'm feeling good. Feeling good about this one. It's been busy lately. I mean, we've had a guest and some stuff bunch of stuff going on. I'm going to go ahead and we drove around. There's been some going videos. They're all here. Going, gone. It's a series that I do. When Piyu and I go out, we film. These days, what we do is, see, when we first shifted to Goa, Kapil, became our friend. This was 4 years ago? 5 years ago now. And we didn't have a car until last year, January. So during the times, because there was a year and a half we weren't living in Goa, but when we were living in Goa, anytime we went outside, basically Kapil was driving us. And then one day we decided we wanted to be a little more independent, and so I got a car. It's called Punchy. Here's a picture of it. I like Punchy. We name things here. It's a Tata Punch, so the name kind of came pretty naturally. Punchy. Anyway, so, but when we want to, because her dad moved in with us, and so when we want to show him this and that, go here and there, go places I'm not that familiar with, or drive in areas where people drive like maniacs, or, the narrow roads, this kind of thing, then we call up Kapil, and he drives Piyu and me and Piyu's dad. And so if you notice, usually I'm not in the videos because I'm the one filming, but sometimes I'm in them. Or I'll catch myself in a mirror or something like that. And so, yeah, it's Kapil. This is Kapil's channel, One Love Dude. Go subscribe to him. You can say, hey, Edward sent me, and he'll be like, oh my God, one of your people came. Anyway, if you want to, it'd be fun. He's a good guy. If you come to Goa, then he's the person to know, I would say. Anyway, then we went to Maharashtra, and I think this will probably be my last time pointing. That was the most recent travels video. We went up to, like, across the border. There's, it's sort of silly. Like, if you're in California and you went to, like, Parker, Arizona for, like, 3 hours, and you took a video of the A&W. Is the A&W still there in Parker, Arizona? Comment below. Anyway, and then made a video called Arizona, and it was about the A&W in Parker. That's kind of what we did, except we went to this fort, and it's cool because it's not a Portuguese fort. In fact, it's probably at least part of the reason why Maharashtra isn't Portuguese. You know what I'm saying? Because the ports here in Goa are like Portuguese forts built 500 years ago. But that's an Indian port built 600 years ago, and it's fucking a lot more impressive than any of these little puny Portuguese forts. So I do recommend that Maharashtra video that I pointed to earlier. Now, if you open out the description, if you scroll down below this, screen, whatever, later or now, it doesn't matter when you do it. And you open out the description and you scroll down, you'll see all 5 of those links, so you can take your pick. But we'll do Zen Part 10 and Maharashtra for the end screen. All right, now it's time to move on to the content. No, are you new here? You must be new here. We're going to move on now to the incense. This is just some frankincense from Newton. Newton is a grocery store. Nothing too interesting about it, except it's there. I mean, they've got stuff there. In fact, I think I got both the incense and the beverage at Newton. By the way, this is a kara. Piyu got it for me within my first week or two, I think. Oh, no. Maybe it had been 3 or 4 weeks that I had been in. I didn't blow it out. Out of habit, I had it near my mouth, and maybe some of my breath accidentally may have contributed to it going out. I apologize. I didn't mean to disrespect you, incense. Are my Japanese viewers happy? All right. Well, anyway, so that's that. And then we've got, finally going to drink this one, but I'm not going to make it the thumbnail this time. Those who remember that secret, or Tao Te Ching, that Tao Te Ching Part 3, was it? With the People's White. This is not People's White. This is the real thing. People's Lager. So, frankincense and People's Lager. Cheers. Now we'll get to the content of today's video. And then Piyu and I are taking a break. Her friend's going back to Delhi, so we're taking a break for a couple days. And it's badly needed. Taking a break even from Dad. Just for a couple days. And so I'm not going to record, so I told Piyu I need to get this out of my system. And she's asked me if I had a fart in my head. Like, what? Like, I need to get the... Maybe there's some truth to it. So first we read one paragraph of Living Gnosis. Oh, you know what would help is if I went ahead and put on my reading glasses instead of my faraway glasses. There we go. Now I can see the screen and everything. One paragraph of Living Gnosis. I'll try not to talk too much smack about it. Oh, it's a short one. Sweet. Don't know what to do with my hands. This is my dad's ring, by the way. This is, if you were like, oh, what college is that? No. This was my dad's, like, post-grad, like, anyway. So I got the kara, the dad's ring, and my wedding ring. Because the Edward persona. I try to hang things on it so it isn't just naked me with a shirt. Anyway, okay, here we go. The Nag Hammadi Library, also known as the Nag Hammadi Scriptures, however, is beyond any doubt the most significant find in the context of Gnosticism and insight into original Christianity. For among the many different sacred texts it contains are holy books of pagan Gnosticism, such as those of the Greek-Egyptian magical tradition of Hermes Trismegistus, the author of the divine Pymander of Hermes, and my old sanctuary was the sanctuary of Hermes Trismegistus. So, there you have it, anyway. Along with many mystical writings. By the way, if you check out Gwydion's Astral Podcast 150, the one Pymander's Rant, just skip Pymander's Rant and go to 149. It's better. It's a recording I did. I mean, the heart of it, I'd say, unless you count Gwydion singing, is me, that is Edward, on my old podcast that doesn't exist anymore. It's called Edward Reeves Podcast, episode 82. Little random, not too random, but like selected blurbs of things I had said just like a month or two before leaving California for Nepal and never coming back. And obviously I did cross the border into India at one point, hence that's where I am now. But this was like from
2017,
that recording. And why did I bring it up? Because in that one I mentioned that a few days from then, 2 days from then, is going to be the last sanctuary meeting. And then I point to the corner of the screen and a link pops up to the recording of that last sanctuary meeting. The last meeting of Sanctuary Hermes Trismegistus. See, it all ties together. Continuing. Along with many mystical writings of Jewish Christian and Gnostic Christian origin, essentially, there are numerous traditions of mystical and Gnostic Christianity represented in the Nag Hammadi Library. It seems safe to say that the Nag Hammadi Library is a great wisdom treasury of Western spirituality and enlightenment. I keep hearing that. I look forward to when the reading of it resembles such a... Maybe I'm just dense. I'm just not getting it. I'm too hung up on making sexual innuendos that I don't catch the wisdom, the subtlety. The Father created the Son through masturbation because women are icky. Oh, that means something wise and profound that I should... No, okay, we'll see. We'll give it a chance. We'll clear the brain, clear the RAM, hit the reset button on the old hard drive, and we'll go into this as if it weren't a continuation of the Tripartite Tractate that we've been reading for months now. Here we go. Okay, so this section is called The Two Lower Orders. Now, although those who belong to the remembrance, which is excluded from this, are subordinate, they still reproduce the likeness of what belongs to the fullness, and in particular because of their sharing in the names with which they are adorned. Subordinate to those who belong to the remembrance is conversion, and also the law of judgment, which is condemnation and rage, is subordinate to them. Subordinate to these, again, is the power separating those who are below them, which throws them far off and does not allow them to spread upward to those who belong to the remembrance and conversion. This power is fear and despair, oblivion, confusion, and ignorance. Sounds powerful, actually, unironically. Anyway, even these inferior ones who have come into being as an imitation from an illusion are called by the higher names, although they have no knowledge about the ones from whom they have issued through a presumptuous thought, lust for dominion, disobedience, and falsehood. To each of the two orders, moreover, he gave a name. Those who belong to the remembrance and the likeness are called those on the right. Okay, Tucker. Rush. No, he's dead. Who's the guy with the gay frogs? The yelling guy? No. I know that's not what they mean by those on the right. Alright, anyway. Psychical, fires, and the middle ones, the so-called enlightened centrists, right? Just kidding. I'm making a joke. It's sort of funny to me. Sort of like gallows humor. Sort of. That's how it's intended anyway. While those who belong to the presumptuous thought and the imitation are called those on the left. I see how it is. Material, darkness, and the last ones. Yeah, I suppose that does accurately describe those of us on the left. Talking about politics. Anyway, after having established each one in his rank, the images, the likeness, and the imitations, the Word, the capital W, kept the aeon of the images pure from all its adversaries as a place of joy. To those who belong to the remembrance, however, he revealed the thought of which he had stripped himself, with the intention that it should draw them into a communion with the material. This was in order to provide them with a structure and a dwelling place, but also in order that by being drawn toward evil, they should acquire a weak basis for their existence, so that instead of rejoicing unduly in the glory of their own environment and thereby remaining exiled, they might rather perceive the sickness they were suffering from. Acceleration theory, right? And so acquire a consistent longing and seeking after the one who is able to heal them from this weakness. Is it Jesus? I don't know. You know, they said some of these texts are pagan, so maybe not. No idea. The word, maybe it's a different word. I mean, even if it's logos, that's been used in a lot of ways. As Editor Edward explained at some point in a different series on chicken philosophy. Not going to make him do it again. Over those who belong to the imitation, on the other hand, he placed the ordering word with a lowercase w to provide them with form. He also placed over them the law of judgment, and further, he also placed over them the powers that had their roots in the lust for dominion. He placed them to rule over them so that the order should be kept in check either by the firmness of the wise word, by the threat of the law, or by the power of the lust for dominion, all of which diminished that order's evilness until the word was content with them as useful for the economy. Basic capitalism, right? The hierarchy, this next section is called the hierarchy of the cosmic powers. The Word knows that the two orders share a common lust for dominion, and he granted the desire of both these and the others. Sounds like that. You remember Bruce Almighty? When he just says yes he does reply all to all the prayers and just says yes. And everybody wins the lottery, but it's only like $1 because so many people won the lottery. They have to split the winnings and all that kind of thing. So if you let everybody, grant everybody their desire, when their desire is lust for dominion, sounds like a recipe for some issues. Word. Same thing. If you ask the Trinitarians, continuing. To each he gave an appropriate rank for the exercise of command. Okay. Yeah, they can all exist. One's a general, one's a lieutenant, one's a captain, one's a, and they all get to boss around their level of lust for dominion, like a manager of retail. You ever had a toxic lust for dominion type manager in a smoothie place or a Starbucks? So that each would become the ruler of one station and activity and renounce the place of whoever is superior to himself, in order to command by his activity the inferior stations, being in charge of the activity that it befell him to control on account of his mode of being. Thus there came to be commanders and subordinates in positions of dominion and servitude, angels, 100 in bracket parentheses, and archangels with a variety of different kinds of activities. Fuck it, it's warm. I don't usually wear a shirt, let alone one that goes up so far. Usually like to show a little. Anyway, each of the rulers with the category and the grade that came to be his lot in accordance with the way they had appeared, took his position, having been given his charge in the economy. And so none of them is without a command, and none is without a king above him. Even if you go all the way down to the lowliest, desk worker, he can command his stapler. Staple. Damn it. Everybody can command something, right? And so none of them is without a command, and none is without a king above him, from the ends of the heavens to the ends of the earth, as far as to the inhabited regions of the earth and those who are below the earth, there are kings and there are masters, as well as those whom they command. Some are there to punish, others to give punishment, some to give relief and healing, others to instruct, and still others to keep watch. Cops, right? Yeah, it sounds like the world, right? The ruler and the demiurge. Ooh, ding, 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 ding. The first mention of the demiurge in the actual text of anything we've read, at least direct reference, not interpreted by the editors, we think this part might be about the demiurge. But the section head, which I think are still, the editors decided what to call these section heads. So we'll see where this goes. This is supposedly a paragraph about the ruler and the demiurge. All right, let's go. Let's see what we got here. Over all these rulers, he placed one ruler who is commanded by no one.
One ring to rule them all.
Thank you, J.R.R. Tolkien. One of those R.R. or J.J. J.J. Abrams. R. Harrison. George R.R. Tolkien. C.S. Lewis. So one of those guys. Anyway, sorry. Since he is the Lord of them all. Yes. This is the representation that the Word, with a capital W, brought forth from his thought as a likeness of the Father of the all. Okay, so if the Word is made flesh and the flesh dwelt among us and is Jesus, and Jesus imagined this God or whatever, or ruler of us all, Father of the all.
One ring to rule them all.
Well, I don't know. Let's just keep reading. Let's keep reading. Sounds kinky. Because of that, he is adorned with every name, including Abraxas. Anybody watching the Carl Jung stuff? Being a likeness of him, pressing all the qualities and the glories. For he too is called Father, God, Creator, King, Judge, Place, Dwelling, and Law. The Word, with a capital W, made use of him like a hand in order to work on the things below. And he used him like a mouth to say the things that should be prophesied. When he saw that the things he said and worked on were great, good, and marvelous, he rejoiced and was happy. As if, the 100 wasn't, that was a footnote 100, so not 100 angels. Angels, footnote number 100. Okay. As if he was the one who had spoken and done these things by his own thoughts. For he was ignorant that the movement within him came from the Spirit that moved him in a predetermined way toward what it wanted. Let me get this straight. The Spirit moves through the Word. The Word thinks the Word created the demiurge, I guess. It didn't say demiurge, but it said this ruler thing that's also called God and all this stuff. So the Word, with capital W, usually a phrase in the context of Orthodox Christianity used to refer to Jesus, right? So the Word made the demiurge, gets happy when the demiurge does stuff as if the Word was the one doing it, because the Word is ignorant of the fact that it's the Spirit moving through the Word that makes it do predetermined things like create the demiurge and get happy when the demiurge does stuff. And meanwhile, a bunch of kings and masters are bossing each other around as ordained and punishing each other and sometimes healing and relieving each other. At least it's not all bad. Sounds like quite a picture they're painting. Where do I sign up? Who do I make the check out to? All right, I stole that from Morty. Anyway, maybe it gets better. It must get better. This is the shitty part. Like in those those epic Pink Floyd songs, like One of These Days I'm Gonna Cut You Into Little Pieces, or Echoes. Like those are on the same album, aren't they? There's the part where it gets kind of scary, but then it gets kind of awesome right afterward. You have to go through the scary part to get to the awesome part. By the way, when you get to the end screen, click Maharashtra. Ignore Pymander's rant. Maharashtra, it plays most, like 4/6. It plays 2/3. It plays like 4 tracks from Pink Floyd Metal. That Metal album, Meddle. It's a good album. If you like that album and you're like willing to look at Maharashtra while you're listening to it, by all means, click that. It's good. It's really, I enjoy it. Better than this, that's for fucking sure. All right, this next section is called the psychical realm. Okay, sure. What does it say? It says, the things that came into being from him he spoke, and they came to be after the likeness of the spiritual stations we have discussed earlier in the section about the images. For For he not only worked on, but he himself also produced in his capacity of father his own economy and seeds. This took place, however, through the superior spirit that descended through him to the lower stations. And not only did he speak spiritual words as if they were his own, ... There's something missing from the text. Okay. Invisibly, through the spirit that called out and produced things that were greater than his own nature. For since he was by nature a god and a father, and all of the rest of such honorable titles, he thought that they were sprung from his own nature. He established rest for those who obeyed him, but the disobedient he sentenced to punishments. With him is also a paradise and a kingdom and everything else that exists in the aeon before him, although those things stand above these imprints because of the thought with which the latter are joined, and which acts like a shadow or a veil, so that he does not see what the nature of the existing things really is. All right. I think we're still talking about the demiurge. So this thing that was created. So okay, we're getting a little bit of a clarification about the cosmology, I guess, the hierarchy. So the spirit moves through the word. The word created the demiurge. The demiurge creates stuff, but it doesn't realize that it didn't create it. It thinks it's actually God, but it's actually like third level down or whatever. And it doesn't get the things that it creates. Okay? It's coming into focus slowly. He set up for himself laborers and servants to assist him in the things he would do or say. For in every place where he worked, he left his handsome figure by means of his name, while he worked and spoke the things he was thinking. He set up in his stations images of the light that had been revealed, and of the spiritual places, images deriving from his own nature. As a result, the stations were everywhere adorned by him, stamped with the figure of the one who had put them in place, and so they were established. Paradises, kingdoms, rests, promises, and multitudes of servants to do his will. Though they are lords with dominion, they are all placed under the one who is Lord and has appointed him. Sauron. I mean, kind of. A little. Not really. Lord of the Rings is more of a Catholic thing, right? Well, and Nordic. Alright. Oh, Jesus Christ. My hope has gone out the window. I had hope, I'll admit it. I don't anymore. Because I just looked, just because I thought maybe the Tripartite Tractate might be ending on the next page. And in the middle of the next page, I saw something that says Part 2. There's more than one part, and we're gonna eventually, today, we're gonna finish Part 1 of the Tripartite Tractate. And next time on Chicken Philosophy's Nag Hammadi Part 25, BT will begin reading Part 2 of the Tripartite Tractate. Maybe it has a different author. Maybe it has different content. Maybe it's just like reading something that's not what we've been reading for the past couple months. Wouldn't that be nice? No, it's fine. It is what it is. Whatever. I'll keep reading. The Organization of the Material Realm is the title given to this next section. After thus having listened to it well, he placed the lights that constitute the starting point of the structure over the organization of the things below. The invisible spirit moved him in such a way that he too desired to administer an economy by means of a servant of his own, one that he also could make use of, like a hand and a mouth. And as if he had a face. What he brought forth were order, threats, and fear, so that those who had been acting without instruction, 3 dots, should hold the position they had been assigned to. Yes, when you go around to your servants and you say, hey, you get in this position. You got a hand, you got a mouth, all right. You got a face? Yeah. Sorry, that was my imitation of an aspiring demiurge under the demiurge in this corporate structure of Gnosticism. Apparently, I mean, maybe they're describing hell or something, or Earth. Anyway, scratch that. I mean, not scratch it, but pretend I didn't say that. Being fettered to their places by the chains of the rulers who are over them, of course. The whole constitution of matter is divided into 3 parts. The first, powers. What? Which is the spiritual word, the first powers, which the spiritual word brought forth by illusion and presumption. He placed in the first spiritual rank. The ones that these brought forth, moreover, through lust for dominion, he placed in the middle region, since they then were powers for lust for dominion, so that they might rule and command the establishment under them with compulsion and violence. Those, finally, who had come into being from envy and jealousy, I missed the second one, but I'm not going to go back and search for it, and all the other progeny, there we go, from this kind of disposition, he placed as a servant order, controlling the last things and commanding all existing things and all procreation. They get to command all procreation. All right. Remind me not to move to this place. Jesus. From these derive the diseases that instantly destroy.
I guess you just put your dick in and explode.
Thank you, Eddie Murphy. He's describing a VD that he's imagining. It's early Eddie Murphy. Anyway. And they are also impatient to procreate.
So you wait and you wait and you wait and you wait. And you wait and you wait and you wait.
Although their existence is nothing in the place they have issued from, and to which they will once more return. Because of that, he placed over them the commanding powers that continuously work on matter to ensure that the offspring that come into being may also have durability. For this is their glory. That's the end of part 1 of the Tripartite Tractate. Please turn the tape over to begin part 2. That's my sound effect imitation of the end of a side of a cassette. It's not very good. Alright, so we read that, and so that's done, which means we won't have to read Nag Hammadi again for a while. That is something to celebrate with beer. Alright, so I'll be back on Friday or Saturday, I think. Today's Wednesday, right? I'll be back on Saturday or Sunday. And we'll be reading Gwydion will be reading Martin Luther. That's always a fun combination of elements. And, yeah, that's that. Things are back to normal. That, the big Esoteric Nerd episode happened and passed, and then you know how, I mean, if you're familiar with Edward Gwydion and BT, Edward's job is to be nervous about the blowback, the fallback, the backlash of what people are going to think of me or us based on RC's. You know, he's got a slight case of, like, that great replacement paranoia.
You will not replace us!
Which normally I wouldn't forgive a person for, and I'd block them and just fucking... But RC, he's such an old friend, he's such a good friend, that the love that I have for him overpowers my good sense and my leftist knee-jerk reactions to block and try to wipe out from existence and deplatform people who air such bullshit. But you know, I dealt with it as best I could. It's toward the end. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out Esoteric Nerd 136 and skip toward the very end. I think I dealt with it okay. It was just this much. So anyway, I mean, there are surely specific examples that anyone can point to, and I've met people. I've surely met people, and that, you know, and there's a general acceptance, and it's the thing is, it's not without a historical precedent or reason. But you know, when one group, when it's okay to talk shit about one group, but none of the other specific groups, but one specific demographic, talk as much shit as you want. It's popular these days. That's a thing that happens, but however, that, you know, is probably related to and the direct result of the fact that one specific demographic of human
Straight white man.
Was like, hey, you know what? We're the best and we're going to run everything, and if you don't like it, you can't do anything about it because we own everything. Fuck you. For hundreds of years. And when one small group of like, it's not, the thing is, it's not the same individuals. The individuals that have those traits in present day aren't the same ones in the 1800s and the 1700s and the 1600s. However, you could say they benefit from the inequalities put in place by their forebears of the same ethnicity, gender, and sexual orientation, except for the closeted ones, you know. So, you know, it's a touchy subject, but to boldly take a side against the being persecuted by those who until just recently were persecuted by them, again, with the different, it's not the same individuals, but the same demographic, isn't a thing that strikes me as, it seems much more of a, like, grin and bear it, like, shut up and put up with it. I mean, obviously, if something goes too far, then, you know, but like the fact that people will say, oh, well, it's typical that you think that, or that you, like, I run into it here on Chicken Philosophy occasionally, once in a while. Someone will come on and say, wow, the arrogance of you white males, or whatever, and it's like, block, whatever, you know, like, all right, but I don't get super mad about it. Like, if I were, like, something else, you know, a different ethnicity, a different gender, and somebody was persecuting me, or, you know, talking shit to me specifically based on my ethnicity and gender, or gender identity, then I might, you know, react differently. Because, like, hey, man, we're trying to change the world here and make it so that y'all fuckers aren't, by y'all fuckers, I mean people who look just like me, aren't the only ones with all the perks of being a human being on Earth, you know? But since I'm on the opposite side of that whole equation, I tend to just kind of keep my mouth shut and just kind of like hope for the best. And if anybody's like, hey, who do you side with? This guy who's saying, oh, I'm being persecuted because I'm a straight white male, or the people who are persecuting him, without any hesitation, every time, 100% of the times, I'll say the people who are persecuting him, obviously, they have every right to complain, you know. What if it's your best friend that is not able to find work because he doesn't, like, the place he's trying to apply, you know, is already 90% straight white male, and so when they have a job opening, there's laws that prohibit them from being 100%, and so they specifically are like, hey, dude, you can't get the job, because then people would say we're racist, because, you know, so we got to hire somebody who's a little more diverse than you are. It's the fucking great replacement agenda, right? No. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. Wow. Oh, good. I got that off my chest. Well, anyway, whatever. I love you, RC, if you're watching. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun talking, catching up. Look forward to doing it next time. Maybe next year, though. All right. That's it. That's a lot of me. I'm going to go ahead and close now and go on my little vacation for a couple of days. And I hope that you have a good one. Don't forget to check out the end screen. Go for the Maharashtra one, not the Gwydion's rant. You don't want to hear more of this face and this voice complaining about stupid shit, do you?